This is the third event in our series of digital bodies events. So my name is Laura Clancy. I'm the director of the Centre for Gender Studies at Lancaster University. And these digital body seminars are linked to our summer school that we run every other year, Feminist Media and Cultural Studies. So we've asked a series of speakers to come and talk to us about kind of various aspects of digital bodies, and we've defined that very broadly. So as you'll see, we're recording this session just to make everyone aware, so that'll be running throughout. You can turn auto captions on Teams if you need them. So the three dots at the top, you can click on that and scroll down, and there's a option for auto captions. If people could please leave their mic and their camera off until we get to the discussion section, just because there might be a bit of noise, but you can turn it on to ask a question if you want later on. And I just wanted to flag to you the other event, the fourth event in the series. Oh wow, that's gone very big in the chat, sorry. But the last event in the series is Jamie Hakeem, which will be the keynote at the actual summer school, that you can also be able to watch online if you wish. And we also have the recordings of all the past events that we've had in this series, which you can watch on our YouTube channel. And this talk will also go on to there afterwards. Okay, so today I'm really pleased to have Oscar Zhou here to talk about algorithmic gay sexualities on Douyin. So Oscar is a lecturer in media studies at the School of Humanities at the University of Hertfordshire. He trained as a communicator scientist at the undergraduate level before studying for a master's degree in globalisation and communications at the University of Leicester and a PhD in media and cultural studies at the University of Sussex. He's interested in digital cultures and communications in a transnational context, including but not limited to media and technology in everyday life, queer digital cultures and activism, critical big data and algorithm studies, Chinese media and politics, as well as feminist media studies. His current book project uses the lens of cultural studies, feminist and queer theory to investigate how Chinese gay men engage with media technologies, texts and practices in their everyday lives. More recently, Oscar has begun exploring the gender and cultural politics of algorithms on TikTok and its Chinese sister version, Douyin. Thank you, Oscar.
Thank you, Laura. Hello, everyone. I'm Oscar Zhou. I'm a lecturer in media studies at the University of Hertfordshire in the UK. So thank you very much, Laura and Patricia, for having me today. So it's such an honor to be part of this amazing digital bodies seminar series hosted by Lancaster University. Let me just, yep. So my talk today is actually based on a forthcoming journal article I wrote together with my collaborator, Dr. Shuaishuai Wang, from the Xi'an Jiaotong Liverpool University, which is due to appear in a special issue of Sexuality on sexual datafication. So our project draws upon algorithmic ethnography enrolls algorithms to gather qualitative data to examine how Chinese social media platforms and their algorithm intersect with gay visibility and sexualities. So today I will start my talk with some kind of context and method of my research project, and then I will move on to some interesting research findings of this project. So I will particularly discuss the rise of so-called man-on-man action videos on TikTok, as well as some kind of interesting gay romance videos on Douyin, which is the domestic version of TikTok. So lastly, I would like to share some kind of other research projects that I'm currently working on, which are relevant to this algorithmic gay sexuality project. So I'd like to begin with some kind of contextual information. So according to its official data report, TikTok had more than 1.1 billion daily active users by February last year, while its Chinese domestic version Douyin had more than 0.6 billion daily active users. As you can tell, this made them very kind of popular social media platforms, not only in China, but also around the world. So our research project seeks to answer questions about how digital platform, big data, algorithm intersects with gay sexuality in China. We particularly want to look at how gay men in China experience algorithms as part of their everyday lives, and how do recommendation algorithms give rise to a certain type of gay visibility in China where homosexual content is heavily censored, and what does this algorithmic visibility promise Chinese gay men, and what are the sociological meanings of algorithmic gay sexuality on Douyin. So we particularly use this kind of algorithmic ethnography, which is used to address how algorithms intersect with society, culture, and politics in complex ways. So we examine some kind of gay romance videos collected their recommendation algorithm by using a research profile on Douyin. We enrolled algorithm in our data collection to examine how the platform formulate their recommendation algorithm, repurposing algorithm for a more meaningful data kind of sampling and collection. So before we discuss what's happening on Douyin, I would like to discuss the rise of man-on-man action videos on TikTok. So what I found very interesting, like on TikTok since around like 2018, 2019, so there were kind of some street young men on the app are posting very suggestive videos with their buddies. So man-on-man action video is kind of extremely popular way to generate traffic on the app. So not only some kind of small fry kind of influencers, but also some really big social media stars are producing these kind of videos. And the most representative example could be the Sway Boys, as you can tell on the slides here. So they are they're very young. They're kind of 18 to 21, and they come from the Los Angeles collective known as Sway House. So their videos tend to be, viewed like millions, which put them in a really kind of elite class. They can make anything go kind of blow up on TikTok, whether it's a new product, or it's a song, or it's a traditional celebrity. And they're known for their kind of sweaty, half naked workout and dancing video. And let me show you an example here. Okay, so that's their kind of popular semi kind of naked workout dancing videos. So in addition to these kind of dancing videos, the Sweet Boys also tend to produce a lot of kind of playful kisses and lollipop sharing videos. With the rise of man-on-man action videos on TikTok, so there's even a term particularly created to describe straight men who go beyond bromance and display this kind of non-sexual signs of physical affection, which is called homiesexual. And let me show you another TikTok video here, which is about homosexual.
I am not gay. What I am, though, is homosexual. I love my homies.
So as you can tell on the slide, so the homosexual hashtag have had more than 174 views. And if you have a look at the comments under these videos, you will find the majority of the commenters are female. So rather than feeling, being threatened or confused by guys who are being this kind of playful with other guys, and the female viewers find this very sexy. And also some straight male fans want to emulate this kind of carefree male bonding that this kind of TikTok videos portray. So on one hand, man-on-man action videos created for the sake of TikTok views can feel very kind of exploitative, especially to those kind of gay viewers on TikTok. And some of them criticize the homosexual videos on TikTok, saying being gay is not a joke. It shouldn't be, exploited to generate traffic. However, on the other hand, other fans see these videos as being very progressive. So they argue that these videos are less about gayness and more of this kind of paradigm shift of some thought for involving form of masculinity, right? That is no longer ashamed to show affection. So whether you consider this is progressive or is very kind of exploitative, the fact is some people, including myself, can't stop watching them. So they're really, really popular on short video platforms. By saying watching in the age of media convergence, I guess it also means some YouTubers, some other TikTokers are watching together with you, right? So they're producing more videos reacting to this kind of genre on TikTok. So that's what's happening on TikTok. Now I'd like to shift the focus from TikTok to its domestic version, Douyin. What I found very interesting was the video featuring gay romance are very popular on the platform. So they're slightly different from those homosexual videos on TikTok. So on one hand, as you may know, we have this kind of serious media censorship of LGBTQ issues in China. For example, since 2015, the State Administration of Press, Publication, Radio, Film, and Television announced a rule that banned any TV shows, films, as well as online streaming services depicting this kind of so-called non-normative sexual relationship, including homosexuality. And more recently, I think it's in 2018, some Chinese social media platform started to launch this so-called cleaning campaign to clean up the platforms, including removal of this kind of gay-themed content and discussions in order to comply with Chinese laws and regulations. But on the other hand, we have this kind of sweet viral gay romance videos on Douyin, and most of them tend to spotlight the ordinary everyday life of their creators performing romantic gay intimacies, relationships in a diverse ways. So it's very rare to see some kind of particular sexual identities such as gay, queer, or tongzhi attached to these kind of videos. So the interesting videos in question are often presented with some hashtags like fufu, which means husband and husband, as well as 彩虹男孩, which means rainbow boys. For example, the videos hashtag with rainbow boys had been viewed more than 3 billion times on Douyin by April last year. So we have very kind of contrasting images here. So on one hand, we have mainstream media scene in China where severe restrictions have been imposed on the spread of homosexual related content. But on the other hand, Douyin's algorithm seems to kind of privilege and reward these kind of gay romance videos, similarly creating a new kind of queer space. If you look into these kind of gay romance short videos on Douyin, which I'm going to show you in a minute, so they're normally filmed in a mundane queer private space, such as bedrooms and living rooms. And I got an example here. 这样下去不行不行，数羊数鸡数星星，1 2 3 4 5 6 7。抖音。I really like that Douyin, the sounds. As you can see here, the bedroom, particularly a young gay couple's bedroom with double bed, simple and cozy, looking beddings, as well as this kind of cute couple sleepwear, so has become a new kind of sensation for gay short video creators and a very niche queer aesthetics on Douyin. Not only Douyin, but also its global version TikTok has been actively showcasing the traditionally private space of the bedroom. So their algorithm celebrate youth bedroom culture, which has been facilitated by the global lockdown due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So many media scholars observe that TikTok tend to facilitate the viral spectacles of girls' bedroom cultures, which invites and reward this celebration via the logic of the platform's metrics. So in the Chinese context, bedroom has long been seen as a very important, safe, and sometimes the only space for Chinese gay men to explore their identities, desire, and sexualities. Despite that, there is a rise of commercial queer spaces in urban China, particularly in metropolitan cities. So on Douyin, however, the bedroom should not be considered as private anymore because it has become the kind of recurring background in many gay creators' short videos with millions of views and likes. So these kind of gay creators tend to include recognizable, popular hashtag and those kind of pink bubble filters, as you may see. So as well as the Douyin, the platform's own labeled cover song in their short videos. So these kind of creators are inviting viewers to actively participate in and comment on their private everyday gay intimacies in bedrooms. So what Douyin is doing is not only kind of encouraging creators to publicize their private space, but also invites and rewards them to clear the public space through participating in, for example, popular hashtag challenge on the platform. As you may know, like hashtag challenges are an integral part of the platform and Douyin TikTok community because they can engineer user engagement and participation with via this so-called this repeated algorithmic recommendations. Many gay creators actively participate in the viral challenge on Douyin's official top challenge list. And let me show you an example here. So this is a short video produced by a gay creator who is 23 years old with about like 1 million followers, very popular. So what he's doing here is participating in one of the most popular challenge on Douyin, namely 看我手势行动, follow my gesture, in which two individuals, typically those friends or heterosexual partners, perform an extravagant kind of hand or body gesture immediately prior to a vehicle kind of whizzing past. And he and his partner participate in this challenge in a quite kind of sweet, homoerotic way. For many gay creators, participating in these viral hashtag challenges demonstrate that gay intimacy is compatible with the platform's heterosexual structures, which makes this kind of gay visibility sustained as a resistance to the invisibility experienced in real life. Moreover, these viral hashtag challenge videos also demonstrate the way in which public space could be queered in China. I came across lots of gay creators film their challenge. They really love metropolitan subway stations. So by showcasing this kind of same-sex intimacy and affection in public, both romantically and creatively, these videos somehow reconstructing the heteronormative reality of that particular subway stations. And another popular public venue is a local supermarket. And I think I have another example here. Okay, you got the idea, right? So this particular gay couple, they tend to wear the kind of matching outfits, holding hands, enjoying these ordinary weekly shopping trips. So in some other cases, I think public places could be homoeroticized or queered by gay creators in a more deliberate way in order to boost their visibility on the platform. So I came across many gay creators doing this kind of making their videos viral by pranking each other in public deliberately. So in some case, they tend to surprise their boyfriends by calling them baby or wife softly on purpose at a local restaurant or the convenience stores. And these kind of pranking videos, they are really, really kind of popular and they went viral. But if you look at the platform, they are perfectly fit into the most profitable genres on the platform, Douyin and TikTok, namely the couple content as well as the comedy content. So the most permanent kind of gay romance videos and then can become the new genre template for other kind of TikTok Douyin creators and new Douyin creators who strive for visibility to follow and learn how to be recognized by Douyin's algorithm. So our research found that gay short video creators are very key nodes of queer networks, identifications, and communities on the platform. However, their experience and content are very specific to the platform and mediated by the structure of Douyin. So in addition to the tagging practices in the viral hashtag challenge, so gay creators also tend to use very popular tags of the platform such as roommate, everyday vlog, emotion, foodie, pad muscle, they manually include those kind of tag in their videos to follow the popular pattern of search on Douyin, which intertwines this everyday gay intimacies with consumption, with certain lifestyle and popular culture. So these kind of tags arguably can constitute the algorithmic identities of both gay short video creators and their gay viewers on the platform. And somehow you can argue that it contribute to perpetuating the homonormative gay politics in post-socialist China, where gay identities can only exist as a private, individual, consumption-oriented, and apolitical identity. So overall, Douyin seems to make Chinese gay men feel more positive, promising them new kind of queer spaces with visibility, possibility, pleasure, and also providing a basis for contact and community. Its algorithm really kind of shifts the dialectic, of public and private arenas, allowing for a wide range of social and sometimes erotic content. It can even provide a space for public discussions on gay rights issues. I did came across some discussions about the marriage equality issues in that kind of comments under this kind of videos. And somehow you can argue that I think these kind of videos tend to forge new alliances between different kind of groups of gender and sexual minorities in China who are perceived as a threat to the heteronormative status quo. However, the young, middle-class, attractive gay short video creators, they're now transcending the heteronormative constraints. So their kind of digital vlogging practices are very limited by the platform's algorithm, so which guides them to produce more recognizable homogeneous gay content, and at the same time punishes the diverse video genres. So it offers this sweet kind of homonormative, visual spectacles that fit into Douyin's own brand image as being young, being lively, having fun, having positive energy, rather than providing the authentic access to the resources in real life. So on one hand, the compelling fantasy of algorithmic gay visibility on Douyin present an urban, middle-class, cosmopolitan lifestyle in China, where many gay men desire, but they have few to achieve. I remember during our research, I came across lots of comments about, oh, why can't we have this happy gay relationship, this kind of happy gay lifestyles on the comments. So on the other hand, so these videos somehow fail to correspond to many Chinese gay men's lived experience, especially those who are poor, who are from rural China, who are HIV positive, who are non-monogamous, and who are selling sex. So the queer space promised by Douyin's algorithm are therefore not always that queer, so it could be homonormative. So they hold gay men back from questioning the lack of support for Chinese gay male community on an institutional level in relation to education, employment, healthcare, and social work, and cannot make up for the structural discrimination against gender and sexual minority in China. Because the research findings I presented here is part of a larger research project about algorithmic gay sexuality and visibility on Chinese social media. So my collaborator has examined another platform, which is called Zhou. So Zhou is a kind of people tend to call it Chinese Quora, which is a popular question and answer digital platform where Chinese gay men are searching and engaging with HIV/AIDS related questions, and it is becoming another kind of type of significant gay online content in China. And part of the explanation for this is that the Chinese government has long been conflating the issues of homosexuality and HIV/AIDS prevention, and therefore homosexuality is recognized in China only as an object of medical management as well as a threat to public health. So the dual stigma of being gay and possibly having HIV propel a large number of Chinese gay men to use Zhihu to search for information on AIDS and HIV and make sense of the shame, anxiety, and fear attached to the virus. Interestingly, when we researched Zhihu, we found the depression, the negativity, the stigma, the discrimination experienced by HIV positive gay men in China are algorithmically invisible. So on one hand, the platform seems to constantly feed its gay users with very kind of encouraging, uplifting answers, offering, we call this kind of toxic optimism that promise Chinese gay men living with HIV a better life. It favors this kind of content because they can produce trending and monetizable items such as medical promotion, such as commercial healthcare training and marketing. However, on the other hand, these kind of positive answers circumvent the real life challenges faced by HIV positive gay men, such as discrimination in employment and the HIV/AIDS phobia in Chinese society. So finally, I want to say a few words about what's next for my research. So if you are interested in any of these kind of research projects, please do feel free to email me. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So firstly, motivated by this kind of research project, I'm very interested in kind of gay and bisexual queer men living with HIV and AIDS on Douyin and TikTok, and how do they educate young people about the reality of living with HIV today on TikTok and Douyin. And secondly, I have been using a transculture and intersectional approach to understanding gay male media cultures in China. I'd love to continue this kind of critical discussion regarding the intersection of gender, sexuality, race, class, age, and digital media. So in particular, race is a very underexplored theme in Chinese gay and lesbian studies. So I'm very interested in interracial gay sexuality in China. I have published a book chapter on this topic, which used a Chinese Caucasian gay internet celebrity couple, as you can tell on the slides. I use them as a case study to examine how race gains new meanings in everyday communicative practices of gay men in China, and how these meanings shape gay desire, desirability, and affect the way in which gay men see themselves. And lastly, the cultural meanings of this particular gay internet celebrity couples changed a lot over time. So in 2017, the Chinese gay internet celebrity who I focused on became a gay father, their surrogacy. So this year marked a very kind of significant year for his celebrity practices. Since then, this internet celebrity started to use different social media platforms to perform his gay fatherhood to his fans, as surrogacy itself is still illegal in China. So, but some gay couples are still paying for the commercial service in other countries where it is allowed. Therefore, I'm very interested in this kind of performing gay fatherhood on different social media platforms, particularly on Instagram, TikTok, and Douyin. Lots of kind of Chinese gay fathers are doing this kind of performance. They are presenting a new parent-child relationship without heterosexual marriage. So I think that could be a very interesting topic to explore. And so I think that's all from me. And thank you very much. I'm gonna stop share.
Thank you, Oscar. That was really great, really interesting. Selection of videos as well was great. If anyone has any questions, feel free to put your hand up or put them in the chat, whichever you feel most comfortable doing. We're happy with either of those. While people are thinking, I might go ahead with, I've got a couple that I wanted to ask you about. My first one was, I wondered whether there are any kind of celebrities who do this kind of thing. So, you kind of talked about, it depends how we define celebrity, right? Because look, well, I suppose the first question is, did any of these people become celebrities or influencers or get deals or whatever off the back of this? And then I suppose the second question is, have any celebrities from elsewhere, if you know what I'm trying to say, kind of performed any of this or kind of fed into any of these representations on these social media sites? Hopefully that makes sense. Sorry, that was a very strange question.
Yes, that's a really good question. I think, yeah, you're absolutely right. So it depends how we define celebrity. If we think about like internet celebrity, I think some of our kind of sampled gay short video creators, they are internet celebrity because they have 1 million kind of followers. I think that's absolutely kind of could be considered as influencer or internet celebrities. So so the interesting thing I found was, because in Chinese context, on one hand you have this kind of media censorship, but on the other hand you have this kind of popular genres, which is very interesting to see those kind of very kind of contrasting images. So in the UK or in America, absolutely you have this kind of gay influencers doing similar thing on TikTok or other kind of platforms. But in China, what makes it fascinating is about, the algorithm actually privileges this kind of genre from maybe an economic perspective, definitely not from a kind of gay rights perspective. But I guess that's made this kind of project very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. When you were talking, particularly when you said about gay fatherhood, I was thinking about there's a show, isn't there? And sorry for this. Is it called Are We There Yet or something like that, where fathers kind of spend time with their children, and it's like a performance of parenting. Do you know the one I mean? In China.
I didn't know that one.
That might not be the right name. Sorry, I'll try and find it. But that kind of the ways in which these kind of new medias are quite traditionally gendered in a way. So like how it was like, oh, the dad's always at work, so it's a joke for them to kind of come and look after their own children. And kind of how what you're talking about kind of goes alongside that, I think is quite interesting. In terms of the kind of gender norms and things.
Yeah, I feel like the gay fatherhood performance on Douyin, TikTok, and Instagram, I found that fascinating because if you look at the Chinese context, the surrogacy is illegal. So somehow when they're performing this kind of gay fatherhood, you could say it's an activism. It could be a social movement because it's really challenged people's kind of understanding of this kind of family, and it's really queer family, isn't it? So it's very interesting to think about that, and also it's challenged the kind of long-standing social norms in relation to these kind of non-marital birth children, because that's some kind of very controversial issue in Chinese context. So I think by doing this kind of performance, yeah, it's definitely going to be my next project. I want to explore more. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. I'm trying to find that show I mentioned. While I do that, Patricia, do you have a question?
Yeah, I actually have a question. Thank you very much for the talk, Oscar. It was very interesting.
I think you're in. I think your internet might be going, Patricia. Is it working for you, Oscar, or is it just me?
No, I think Patricia is experiencing connection issues.
Gonna try without video, Patricia.
Okay, is it any better now?
Yeah, much better.
Okay, I'm really sorry. Okay, all right. So I just wanted to ask a little bit more about methods, right? Just for you to maybe tell us a little more about how you have managed to weave through the amount of videos, the amount of material in several platforms with your collaborators. So I just thought I'm very curious to hear about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for the question. I think the research method we use is called algorithmic ethnography, which I think is a really good research method to address how algorithms intersect with our society, culture, and politics in very complex ways. So by using algorithmic ethnography, we consider algorithms as actors that produce knowledge about our society, and it's a kind of apparatus that orders things in a programmed way. Studying algorithm used with this particular method, therefore, must put those kind of technical artifacts back into the culture context, particularly the social political context in which this kind of algorithm are developed and embedded. So for us, it's not a kind of black box, or it's not a technical device. So we are kind of enrolling algorithm in data collection to examine how algorithm intersect with gay visibility. So we did create a research profile on different kind of social media platforms. And for my part, I created a research profile on Douyin. So initially I liked kind of, I remember 4 kind of videos on Douyin, and then which features this kind of gay intimacies, and to start to engage with the platform's algorithm. And then we continue to interact with algorithmic recommendation system by manually liking those kind of similar genres videos. We're doing this by we're doing this, and then we can get a kind of sense of kind of understanding if you are a kind of user on TikTok, on Douyin, and you randomly came across this genre and you click like, and you keep kind of recommending the similar genre. So I think it's really interesting to repurpose this algorithm for meaningful data collection to see if you are a user on TikTok and if you liked a gay romance video. So what kind of genre are you going to come across? What kind of picture will you be presented by the algorithm of these kind of platforms? So I guess that's the research method we use. And then, of course, we download all these videos and the associated like metadata, such as hashtags, captions, songs, videos, comments, and we took lots of screenshots. And in the end, I think we sampled around like 100-ish short videos from 14 gay male creators, and but it's still ongoing. So we want to do more and to see the kind of the shifts over years. But what we found, like their age are very kind of young, it's 19 to 24 years old, and their kind of follower numbers range from around like 10,000 to 5 million. So some of them are definitely the big kind of influencers on Douyin. And I hope that answered your question, Patricia.
Yes, that was very good, but may I have a follow-up, if that's okay? So when you say that you associated the hashtag, have you done this manually? This is out of interest because I'm doing similar things, and I'm doing all of this manually. It's funny because like you are studying how automatic things work, and there you are doing this manually. So just out of interest, have you been working with any sort of software, or is this like go back to paper and pencil more or less?
That's a really good question, because my part is very small part of this larger research project. So I did it like manually. So like what you did. Yes, but I guess that's a very interesting question. Can we work with some softwares to kind of when we are studying algorithm, we can also exploit algorithm to work for us to do the data collection? Yes, I think that would be a very interesting thing to think about. Yeah, maybe. I'm pretty sure there are some software available, but yeah, I need to learn more, I guess.
No, thank you. We're on the same boat here, so thanks.
Can I chip in? So there's a hand up, but just it's related to that. One conversation I'm having a lot and with students, it keeps coming up, and it does generally anyway, I think, is ethics. The ethics of kind of doing this, it's publicly available data. They've put it up there willingly. Does that mean, all these kind of debates in academia, does that mean it's open for us to research? Should we be asking permission? Like I just wonder kind of where you sit in that kind of whole discussion.
Yeah, for me, yes, research ethics definitely is a very important thing, should be taken into consideration. In our paper, the forthcoming paper, so we did anonymize all the kind of participants' information, but also I think it depends how you see these kind of videos. So some of the gay creators we came across, we know, so they don't mind to kind of to publicize this kind of information, because some of them do consider this is kind of action research. They are doing this kind of performance like deliberately because they want to send a message to their fans, to the public, like, oh, we're celebrating this kind of gay intimacies. But at the same time, I've been also studying another kind of group of gender and sexual minority in China, which is the female slash fandom in China. And when I was doing that research project, I kind of I was very cautious about how you deal with their data, because sometimes for some kind of subculture groups, they have their own principles, norms, subcultures within that community. So as researchers, I think we really need to think about how to not just empower them, but also just show the respect to them, like somehow maybe do not kind of directly send the link, and maybe kind of, I think for fan studies, some kind of scholars are really great. They are discussing this kind of how to deal with this kind of research ethics issues when studying subculture fandom. And I think they somehow develop a kind of particular strategy to consider this kind of publicly available data as semi-public, which means you need to set up some kind of barriers there. If the reader want to put more effort, they can find that they can see this kind of fandom, but they need to try and respect and put efforts. It's not kind of, you can click the link, you will find this kind of subculture practices. No, you need to somehow respect them and put some effort into this kind of research. Yep.
Yeah, really interesting. So I guess it's like, it's not all, one rule doesn't necessarily fit all. Maybe it's about looking at the grouping question. Yeah.
Yeah,
really
exactly.
Lovely. Okay, we've got a hand up, which is, your name has disappeared on my screen. Pan Feng, would you like to come on the mic?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for your sharing. So my question is like, can you explain more about maybe why such kind of short video become trendy, except for like algorithm recommendation, as you said. So so I would like to know, like, how would you interpret maybe the psychological mindset behind the audiences, like why they would like to watch such kind of video? Like, what's the difference between other like intimacy videos? Like, are they like same, the gay intimacy video or the heteronormal couple video, that they draw the same attention, or is there any difference? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think that's a really great question. So I think the gay romance or intimacy videos on Douyin, I think they somehow, as I said, they are mediated by, or limited by the structure of the platform, the algorithms, right? So which means this particular genre perfectly fit into the platform's brand image. They, as a platform, the Douyin and TikTok, they want something young, something lively, something positive energy, celebrating this kind of everyday life. And I think that's the brand image of this kind of short video platform. Therefore, as you can tell, all these kind of videos I just showed you, they are somehow, you can see they're very sweet in a way. I think that's a key term. Very sweet kind of viral kind of spectacle. But this is not to say that this is kind of the most popular or the only kind of genre available on the platform, because we choose to focus on this kind of particular genre, and also we try to compare what's happening on Douyin and what's happening on TikTok. So I think on other kind of Chinese social media platforms, there are different kind of showcasing of ordinary everyday life of Chinese gay men. It's not to be kind of exhausting. Like, I don't think that's the only genre. Yeah, and also I think there's another reason, which is more about the broader kind of contextual kind of reason, which is, I think there's also a rise of kind of female kind of media fandom. As I said, like on TikTok, lots of kind of those viewers of this video, they are female. So somehow they found this is very sexy, very interesting. And to that point, I think there has been a kind of, you know, in the Western popular culture, it's called slash, you know, fandom. I think people, particularly female, you know, audience, try to homoeroticize two male characters in the popular media text. And I think that kind of fandom also contributed to the rise of gay romance videos on both TikTok and Douyin. So I think, yeah, that's a broader kind of context. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Pan Fang. That was a great question. We've got another one in the chat. Oscar, I don't know if you can see it. So it says, I was wondering if there was something in your observation about relationships between gay people and their family of origin, since family still tends to be the central concern amongst LGBT plus people in Chinese culture.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And I think a research project I did several years ago was about to look at this kind of gay rights social movement in China. And what I found very interesting about Chinese gay rights social movement is slightly different about what's happening in the UK and in the US. And somehow, if you think about the gay social movement in the UK, for example, so the parents' role, they're definitely not leading. So they are more kind of supportive, right? But in the Chinese context, sometimes it's kind of parent leading kind of gay rights social movement, and gay men, lesbians are not kind of the kind of leading roles, and they are more supportive, standing behind, and their parents. I think there is a particular documentary called Rainbow Mama, directed by amazing documentary maker called Fan Po, and he kind of portrayed this kind of why there is kind of a different kind of parents leading approach in terms of Chinese gay rights movement. I think somehow it's this kind of non-confrontational strategy trying to be not kind of like being radical in China, because that probably won't work. So they develop a very localized indigenous strategy to make sure like the parents, they are leading the social movement, which is more accepted by the society. So I think it's very interesting to think about the different kind of strategies used by different gay rights movement groups in different kind of cultural contexts. And also, again, like the family is very interesting issue. As I said, like the gay fatherhood performance on the TikTok, Douyin, they're definitely touching upon the family issues, right? Because lots of viewers are curious about, oh, where is the mom? So actually, there's no mom, because it's kind of gay father. It's very interesting when people ask that kind of questions on Douyin, because that means this kind of performance, everyday performance, put those kind of debates into the public domain, and people need to pay attention to this kind of issues about family and kinship, queer family. Yep.
Lovely, thank you. I hope that answered your question. I can see there's some people typing. But while we do that, I'll jump in if that's all right. So before people came in, Oscar, we were discussing kind of summer projects and what we were hoping to do. And I wondered if you could tell us a little bit about what your kind of next idea is. I know you mentioned it briefly there at the end, but I'd love to hear more about kind of where this might go next.
Yes, I think so my kind of research in general are using this kind of transculture and intersectional approach. And I think recently I become very interested in this kind of racial politics, which is very kind of underexplored theme. As I said, I have been using kind of interracial gay sexualities as a critical size to think about really the kind of how race got new meanings in everyday kind of communicative practice by Chinese gay men. And also it's not about race. So when we talk about the cultural meaning of race, so it's also about really what does it mean to be gay in today's China, because China is not it's very globalized kind of country, I would say. And when you talk about being gay, somehow people do understand those kind of what does those kind of discourse mean? People understand what's happening in the UK, in the US. So somehow it's not China versus the West. So it's always kind of transculture, maybe slightly different from what's happening on the West. But I think that makes this kind of understanding of gay media cultures in China particularly interesting, because you need to really think about these kind of different ideas: intersectionality, globalization, digital media, they're changing. Yeah, so I think that's something I would like to explore more over the summer. And also, I think another thing which is very interesting, because all my participants, they are from urban China, so they're more kind of cosmopolitan lifestyle, middle class. So I think I also want to explore more about what's happening in rural China, how people kind of experience their gay sexualities and negotiate their desire identities in that particular context, and must be very different from those kind of metropolitan lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. I think intersectionality is always going to be really key. There's another question in the chat. So I was wondering about your thoughts around if you view the space of these apps as re-articulating queer identity and is constantly shifting what queerness is and means in digital media. So they use the examples of queer visibility as gay for pay, safe spaces for existence, queer life into public spaces, intersection definitions of queer and such.
That's really a good question. I really like the word like a re-articulating queer identity, and I think it is, right? So if you think about the video I showed, like those kind of street influencers are doing this kind of really dancing videos. And I think this is the paradigm shift. Like I think those social medias are changing the public understanding of masculinity, sexuality, especially for the young generation, right? So I remember when I was talking to my students, saying this kind of discussing these kind of videos. And my student told me you are Facebook generation, they're TikTok, Snapchat generation, because they don't use Facebook anymore. I remember that moment when I tried to use Facebook as a case studies. But I think digital media platform really kind of remediating this kind of queer identity, and somehow there are lots of kind of visibility. You can argue that it's for traffic clickbaiting, it's for queer baiting, but I think in my case, I think we really need to think about the context. So when we talk about these kind of issues in the Anglo-American context, yes, you can argue that it's queer baiting, but if you put this kind of same kind of genres in the Chinese context, you could argue that it's very progressive. Right. So I think contextualization is the key words we need to be careful with. So which kind of cultural context we are talking about. And also I think in queer studies in general, all LGBTQ studies in general, when people talk about, oh, queer cultures, they don't really give those kind of contextual information. They tend to say, oh, queer culture, and they don't, I was forced because I'm looking at the Chinese concept. I always need to put this kind of queer cultures in China. I think somehow the geographic politics in academia also matters to that point. So which context you are talking about, because people will assume that you are discussing the Anglo-American context. Therefore, you don't need to put this kind of geographic location. But if you're looking at East Asian countries, somehow you need to say, yes, queer cultures in Japan, in China, in Indonesia. So I think somehow that's also a very interesting observation within academia, within the discipline itself. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And I think, yeah, so Charles says, I agree with queer culture not giving specific context. Yeah, I think that's really interesting. It feeds into a conversation I've had with people who are doing research in kind of UK universities on particularly Chinese contexts, and kind of how much context and how much background they feel they need to give when they do a presentation. So you take up like half your presentation giving the context for people, and then by the time you actually get to your answers, just to be able to give them kind of a framework, as you say, for not just kind of assuming that, oh well, of course that's not the case, here, and dismissing it elsewhere. And I think that's a conversation I've been having quite a lot recently, and I think that really feeds into that kind of decolonizing idea of kind of not just not taking that for granted, but also kind of thinking about how we present research in terms of, why should some people spend half their articles giving background context when actually other people are just launching into the argument. I think it's a really it's a much bigger conversation that needs to be had. I think I agree. Does anybody else want to ask a last minute question, or we'll finish up?
I think someone is typing.
I can see someone typing.
Yeah, I completely agree with you what you just said about the decolonizing the academia, and also I think it's also a problem with the publishing industry, isn't it? So because when you kind of working on a book project, the first thing they ask you is about the contextualization. So you need to decide are you doing, in China or, in post-socialist China, something like that. So they ask that kind of questions, immediately. So what's your book project about? So and then I think that's also about the publishing industry, not just for academia, and also for the funding bodies, right? So you need to justify the relevance to the British context somehow. Yeah, so it's very interesting discussion.
Yeah, totally agree. And if you're coming from a completely different starting point, that's kind of completely different contextualized, it doesn't necessarily fit in those kind of boundaries, does it? Yeah, I agree. Okay, wonderful. I think we're at 5 o'clock, so we will finish here. So thank you so much. That was just so interesting. Fits perfectly with the kind of themes, and really interesting to think about. Well, for me, was that last point that I kind of took out with the idea of context. I think is really, really interesting point, and something we definitely need to think more about. I think in academia, it's really important. And so thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you everyone for coming. And this will be, the recording of this will be on the YouTube, hopefully in the next couple of days. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Take care.